In other news, finally, the Mensa has put out their communication number 108 yesterday. Yes, 108. And the Technical Council has authorized the use of the new hospital, the new Panama Solidario Hospital. So after our authorization from the Technical Health Council, which gave the approval to use in a gradual, progressive, and conditioned manner the hospital, Mensa has authorized the transfer of the first 5 patients, all from the San Miguel Arcangel, the San Miguelito Hospital. Again, I apologize for my pronunciations. Mensa will manage the hospital, and the initial phase of naming the required human resources people, the provision of supplies, equipment, furniture, as well as the sanitation of the hospital has already been completed. And this weekend will culminate in the clinical laboratories. The hospital has 100 beds. It's divided into 80 and 20 for intensive care. It also has conventional tomographies and other things that you would normally find in a hospital. Mensa issued the resolution back a couple of days ago, yesterday, June 11th, yeah, yesterday, number 509, that declared that the sanitary fence in some of the communities here have been put back in place. Anyway, the measure is implemented to stop the increase in cases of COVID-19 transmission, obviously, and we'll be able to carry out corresponding health interventions within the established protocols. Mensa does not yet have a report on the acquisition of we've heard stories of contaminated evidence and all that's been circulating in social media. They have no information or report on that yet. I actually am waiting to hear about that, so stay tuned. In the meantime, the regional directors have been instructed to continue carrying out their operations to verify compliance with masks and whatnot. So obviously, you know, that has not changed. The numbers came out yesterday. There are worldwide, as of last night, a little over 7.4 million positive cases in the world, and almost 420,000 deaths. For yesterday in Panama, we have 18,586 total accumulated positive cases. There's 6,600 or so that are reported in home isolation, 695 in hotels, 5,900 in homes, 695 in hotels. The accumulated deaths are up to 418. That's 5 more. 486 people are hospitalized, and 390 are in the hospital, and 96 are in intensive care. So, yes, I know that's been a little bit disturbing when you read these numbers about all these cases, but you have to also understand they're testing a lot more. So when you see something like, 150, 160 new cases, and you look, they've tested 1,100 or 900, they're over 2,000, well over 2,000 they're testing. So they have a goal, so we just need to exercise our patience. Anyway, that's enough of the news today. I want to get to Priscilla. I've been wanting to have her back on the show since her and her partner and Paulo, I think his name is, were on the show a few months ago. So hello, Priscilla. How are you today?
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you great. Yeah, you're coming through loud and clear.
Yay! Awesome. Yay for technology.
I know, right? You're actually sitting in Panama City now, right?
Actually, yes, I am. I am in Panama City right now. So, yep, we're far away. I wish I was in Boquete. That'd be amazing.
Oh, we wish you were in Boquete too.
I know. I was actually in Boquete the day that we found out that there was coronavirus cases here in Panama. So I should have stayed.
You see, you should have just stayed put. But I know you've got your business and all that over there, and I know that all the information out there about this virus and how it's affecting our economy here in Panama and how it's affecting tourism. There's a lot of information. There's also a lot of misinformation, and I don't mean that by these crazy conspiracy theories. I mean, there's just a lot of information out there, and things get lost in the translation, especially from the Spanish to us gringos here who try to make some sense of it all. Let's just start with what's happened to tourism? Because I know you are so
Well,
plugged in. But before we do that, I want to know tell everybody what you do and your website. Because if they hadn't listened to the last show, they're probably thinking, well, who is Priscilla? So tell us a little bit about what you do.
well, my name is Priscilla Gomez, and I am the co-founder of a website, www.aoi.world. And pretty much what we do, we are a collaborative marketplace. So what we do is we help local tourism entrepreneurs market themselves. So we help them by giving them, we help them with their marketing as far as like we help them with their campaigns, we help them with their Google AdWords, Facebook AdWords, and things like that. And then we also give them a secure payment processor. We use Credit Core Bank. And so what they do is they pretty much just have to offer an amazing experience to their guests, and we take care of the logistics as far as taking care of the reservation, processing the payments, and then we then obviously turn around and give the funds to the operator. So um, yeah, we're always looking to collaborate with. We're really trying to focus on really helping the community, not big corporations or anything like that. We really want to help, that one guy that has lancha and he's doing tours, or that one person that has a finca and wants to show, the waterfalls and things like that.
Sure.
We do ask that people are registered with ATP, or and if it's like more of a cultural experience, that they are part of some sort of qualification through the Ministry of Culture, just because we want to maintain the integrity of what we offer. So there is a vetting process that we go through to make sure that the experiences that we offer are top notch.
Well, and that's obviously important because people that are traveling here, they want to know that they're dealing with an above board organization that is going to give them what they pay for.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I see that's very important.
Yeah.
Um, Yesterday there was a story that came out, and I reported it on my venues. That it was, well, let's just say that there was a healthy amount of conversation regarding it, and and it involved the ATP, the Panama Tourism Authority, about a program. Yeah, I know, right? Oh, gosh, I know. Nothing. Making friends wherever we go, right? It said that they were about to launch a promotional campaign on tourism to raise awareness about Panama's natural culture of heritage, blah 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 blah, and preparing the potential local tourists for the time they can move to different destinations in the country. And I don't know about anyone else's social media, but this generated quite a bit of conversation. And I know that you have some thoughts and feelings about this, Priscilla.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned talking about, how this started, or for us, the first couple weeks, we spent doing a lot of refunds for people that had already booked tours, So,
Right.
so all this came out, we spent some time refunding and everything. So we were kind of busy the first couple weeks. Then after that, we started looking to see, what the government was doing, specifically at the Fed. So, we're a part of the press,
Mhm.
group here in Panama. So we were quickly invited to all of the meetings and all of this stuff. And so, I attended them, really wanting to figure out, what the government doing on a national level to really, in our case, the small business, so we know that people that don't know what they're doing
Well, sure.
they don't have this, big flow of traffic. So really wanting to, like, gather from all of these things. Oh, let's together everything, working, putting together cities, putting together committees. And that kind of went on for a couple of weeks, and then we were asked to present a proposal of, what could be our vision of tourism and how we can do things. So
Sure.
me and my partner Dice, we started really studying, what was happening. So we we looked up things like Airbnb experiences, and we got really fascinated with even Faroe Islands, where
Uh-huh.
there's actually a person that wears a camera on their helmet, and people actually from all over the world can actually control. It's like a remote control board.
Cool.
So we started seeing all that stuff. So we started putting together proposals saying, hey, like maybe there's some things that we can do right now.
Right.
That was April. We were in June. We have not heard anything back at all. I mean, we don't know, what, did you like our proposals? Did you see our proposals? We have nothing. And so when we kind of started realizing that no one was going to come and help us, we started, my friends and we started saying, hey, like, what can we actually do now? Because I think that's the biggest thing. And I think it's a little bit, in more in like Panamanian culture, kind of waiting for the government to have the answer
Yeah.
before people in the private sector move. And we realized we're like, oh my goodness, but if we wait, I mean, nothing may ever happen. And I think that's kind of some of the controversy that came out with this post that you're talking about, or with the news of that, there's rolling out these campaigns, is what I see is people just saying, hey, we're really tired of the videos, we're really tired of all of these fancy words and the webinars. Like, we really need a feasible action plan to move forward. And it's something that we're even seeing, like the hotel sector, APATEL, which is the organization of hotels here in Panama. They actually released a statement asking the government to give them a concrete timeline.
Right, a
to try to
specific
move
date when
forward.
they could. Well, and
Exactly.
it's not necessarily a dig against the Panamanian government, but nobody has been through anything
Oh,
really like this.
absolutely.
So I think they're kind of running around trying to figure it out, and
Oh,
but still, that doesn't mean that it's not negatively affecting
oh,
the
absolutely.
business
And I
community.
think absolutely. And I think the biggest thing, for us was we could sit there and just spend our whole time complaining about it, or we could figure out what we can do. And so, what we did, we signed up for Ciudad de Saber, which is kind of like our startup hub here in Panama.
Hmm.
They were offering a weekend, a startup weekend, to work on ideas for post COVID and all of that stuff. So I signed us up, and I asked some of my friends to join me and Dice as part of our team. And we literally spent the weekend just trying to come up with ideas, like saying,
Right.
okay, if we can't leave our houses, what can we do? One of my friends, she does food tours. She studied food tourism. So she's like, hey, I've done this tour um, in Bocas del Toro, the cacao chocolate making. People can make their truffles while they're there. What about if we offer that as a virtual food box experience here in the city? And
Sure.
I was like, oh, great. That sounds awesome. So we had one experience. Then our other friend, she does tours through Cologne. She literally one of the smartest people I know. I mean, she actually does tours in English as well. So
Hmm.
just FYI. And she said a online Zoom tour of Cologne. So I said, hey, yeah, cool. And we came up with a couple of different things, that weekend. And when we left the weekend, I guess, we actually started seeing, hey, we can actually start working on the solution and not just focusing in on COVID and just having such tunnel vision on the problem. And so that's our new pivot now. We actually yesterday had a training session with some other tour operators in Emberá and the Turtle Sanctuary in Mata Oscuro, and pretty much just kind of showing them and saying, hey, is there a way that you can transfer the experience that you give in person to something online, and just give people, whet their appetite, get them excited about exploring Panama. And I think that's, the biggest takeaway, and, excited about being on the show today, is just kind of saying, we can focus all on the problem, or we can figure out,
Yeah.
how we can be part of the solution.
Well, and it's interesting that you know, everybody is really, really tired of hearing that one phrase, right? The new normal, because it has so many different connotations to it. But when it comes to tourism here, I think this digital tours, like you're talking about, is look. We're going to come out of this. I have no doubt that there's still going to be a Panama next year, right? But
Oh,
we're
absolutely.
going to come out of this with a different paradigm of how to do business here. There's going to be a shakeout. Some businesses aren't going to make it. Some are going to have embraced early planning, such as you guys, and will be fine. But I think a lot of what has been seen in the past as only being able to have a success on a let's get in the car or on the plane and drive there and go see it, to changing that to a digital platform. And you know
Oh, absolutely.
and to get ahead of that, it's I got to give you guys props, because there's a lot of people. Now look, we're human beings. It's in our nature to complain about things, obviously. Oh, I don't like being stuck in my house. I can't believe they put back the quarantine, the total quarantine in Panama West again. When are we going to be able to? It's very easy to get caught up into a rut of just only seeing the negative. It's really, really refreshing to hear that there are organizations such as yours that are saying, look, here's what we can't change, and here's what we can change, and let's see what we can do moving forward. Because I think when this is all over, we're going to be living in a different world.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I think the chocolate making tour was an example of that. It was so cool. A Sunday afternoon here at my house, I get a box to for all of the ingredients to make chocolate truffles with cacao from Boca del Toro. The girl is Boca del Toro. Give to the class. And I mean, it was such a connection between all of us, working together. I think that's the cool thing, is thinking outside of the box, is kind of saying, hey, like you said, we can't change things, but we can create something new, and it can be something that people really enjoy.
Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And to be able to have the foresight to say, okay, look, we need to make some changes if we're going to stay in business, and that is equally true for the individual small business person, but also as it is for companies such as yours, that are I guess, what, for the lack of a better word, a clearinghouse for all of these point of reference, or a directory of sorts. So we as residents and citizens have a place to go to say, okay, well, I can't get in my car and drive from Cherokee to anywhere really, because of the sanitary fence. That doesn't mean that I can't enjoy what this country has to offer, and I think that really is the most important thing that
Oh,
I take away
absolutely.
from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think it's really cool, we actually, one of the other experiences that we offer is a young man who he is a culture representative for the Congo culture in Cologne. And so he plays um, and talks about the different songs and the different, I mean, they have their own language. He's actually partnering with UNESCO to preserve the culture, because I mean, it's completely well, it's, I mean, these are things that, we can sit there in the evening from the comfort of our own home to learn about something. Now, it's not going to replace, the in-person tours, but what we want to do is we want people to, pay $10 to, see have a in-depth look at what Colon is. But then now when you come to Panama, you're like, oh my goodness, I saw that. I want to go. It's very similar. I tell people all the time. I used to work for Disney, and I use a lot of what I learned there in my business today. And one of the biggest things that Disney does is they release the movie, have everyone excited about, the movie, and then they release the ride or the characters or whatever in the parks. And so now people, like, they feel an emotional connection to the place because of what they saw. And I think that's the similar experience that we want to bring to tourism for here in Panama, is kind of saying, hey, we want people to feel emotionally connected to us and then want to come visit us. It's not enough to just just say, hey, I'm here, come visit. Like, no, we have to actually market ourselves and sell ourselves and put ourselves out there. So.
Well, and that's, a lot of people might not understand the importance of marketing because sometimes look, it's just another commercial, it's just another commercial. But when you look at the purpose of the, let's just call it the trailer for Panama tourism, right? Or the sneak peek. You look at these billboards, especially in the United States, and you see these giant billboards for Coca-Cola, right? Now you might think, well, Coca-Cola doesn't really need to advertise, right? Everybody knows what Coca-Cola is, but the purpose of that is just to keep it in the forefront of your mind.
And, absolutely.
And with this, there is so much that Panama has to offer, and when you look at the way the advertising and marketing was done in the past, it was more or less like a commercial. Instead of what we need to do now, which is what I believe you're doing, is not just offering a commercial, it's offering a little taste of the experience of what you can get when you finally get here. And I do totally agree with the fact that when I look at something, and it's not just an advertisement with here's our product, buy it. But when it's someone actually using it or doing something fun with it, well, that elicits an emotional response. And you're like, that would be really cool if I could do that. Let me go buy one of these. And I know it seems shallow, but it's not. That's how the world works. The world works on advertising.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, marketing. Me and my partner, we laugh about it all the time when we're saying like people don't realize, but people in marketing control our lives. They literally control the way we think. And those are the people everyone should be really scared of. It's the people that they literally just shape the way we view the world. And I think that's kind of the cool part with what we do is that we're not just trying to offer the marketing piece. We're actually finding a way for these people to monetize because there's a lot of people out there in tourism. There's a lot of people that do something very similar to what we do, but where we find that people fall short is that it kind of there isn't a very clear translation from when I advertise for you to where I sell for you, and that's where the money's lost. And for us, promoting ourselves as a brand is hand in hand tied with actually promoting the communities and the individuals that we actually work with. So, I like that. I think it's the coolest part about being a part of this a business is actually having an operator just thank you for giving them a platform to be able to talk about their experience, what they offer. And the cool thing, like the guy that the cultural representative for the Congo experience, I mean, last week he sold his experience in the United States.
Sure. Well, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, some people in Miami saw him on Instagram and wanted to learn more about what he does and who he is. And he sent them the link for our website, and they were able to, put in their card information, pay for it securely and everything, and he got to offer his experience. In the past, he would have had to figure out, okay, so how do they pay me? Or he would have just had to do it for free because there would have been no way for him to transfer that money from there to here. And I think that's the biggest thing is us being able to help him that.
Well, and that's really, when it comes down to it, your goal is to help, the local business community here. And it's funny when you said earlier about the people in marketing control and shape the things that we do, but you know what? Sometimes obviously, that's used for nefarious purposes and blah blah blah. But when it comes down to it, we're all searching for something to do. We're all searching for, well, what can I do next? I work all day. I have to. There are things that I need to do in my life to live, to pay my bills. But I want some entertainment. I want something to do. I want to see something really cool. I would like to stay, local, because maybe I don't have the bank account to buy plane tickets, and we're looking for that. And the aspect of marketing that I really, really believe has a positive effect on us is the ability for those ads, that marketing to be able to target itself or to be targeted towards people who are searching for something. I know we all joke, okay, I was on Amazon looking for a toaster, and now I have toaster ads all over my Facebook page, Yeah, I get it, that's an algorithm, you can't get around that. But, if you're looking for something to do locally and then you have, an ad come across your social media for one of your businesses or for your website, well, that takes a step out that I have to do. So
Absolutely.
that targeted
Absolutely.
advertising that seems to annoy a lot of us does really have a positive effect. Because maybe, hey, maybe I am looking for a toaster. I have actually bought stuff from Amazon based on an ad that came across my Facebook page because I was searching for something. And to me,
Oh, absolutely.
that saves me a lot of time and a lot of grief, because now I don't have to sit there on my computer, or worse yet, my phone, because my eyes aren't very good, looking for something. So that targeted marketing is a very important part of keeping our local businesses here alive, because like you said,
Yes.
they might not have an
Absolutely.
advertising budget, whereas when they sign up with you, well, okay, one of the things you do is help them. And a lot of people in Panama are hurting because of the way the economy has been affected by this pandemic. And every little bit that we can do in whatever capacity we have, to help our local business people to not only stay in business but continue to turn a profit, is only going to help
Yeah, and I
everybody.
think that's the biggest thing, is having professionals actually do your campaigns for you. It's not just blindly paying, I mean, and that's the thing that I like about what we offer. Dice, my partner, her specialty is marketing and analytics and statistics and everything. And I mean, so we study market trends. Like, we don't just throw money to the wind. We're looking to see how can your $9 a month that you may pay us for advertising, turn into a $500 a month sale for you. Like, that's what we're looking for. We're looking. So it's not just, and I think that's the thing is that, sometimes people like us can get a bad name because they're like, well, I can market myself. Yeah, you really can. But the thing is, it takes an expert to know, somebody that's willing to sit down and every night study Google Analytics to see what are people searching online. That's what we do. Like, we literally every night get an alert in our emails, and we actually go in to see what are the trends, and we're looking for keywords. Are people looking at virtual tourism? Are people looking at tourism? What country, what percentage, what ages? And so then we try to pinpoint then our campaigns to fit that. So, and I think that's the thing, especially very new here in Panama, is that people don't really understand all of the workings that go behind the marketing. It's not just the billboard. It's where you place it and how you place it and what colors you use.
Yeah.
All of that stuff that
Well,
plays an important role in what we do.
and it basically comes down to helping out our economy here, and
Oh, absolutely.
I know that you've had this experience because you're involved in this firsthand, and I'm not. But I do have a lot of acquaintances and friends here in Cherokee, and also outside of Cherokee, that are trying to just keep their heads above water. Obviously, their stores have been closed for months, and their ability to move around freely to buy and sell goods has been curtailed a lot. And it really saddens me when I see and I talk to these people how much they're hurting. I've got friends of mine who've had to pull their kids out of educational programs, or they've had to relocate, or they've had to sell off their inventory at ridiculously fire sale prices because they just can't afford the storage on it before it perishes. And I see and I read all these things, and it does weigh heavily on someone who actually really cares about this country and our economy and our future. And as someone who's dabbled a little bit in tourism, and we'll talk about that at another time. I can only imagine what it's like for someone who is 1 minute operating a successful tour, maybe people down in Boca Chica or Boca del Toro or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's all gone. What do you do? How do
Yeah.
and you can, and I hadn't even considered, yeah, a virtual tour. Why not? I mean, if I wanted to know what was going on, if I wanted to say, hey, I need to go to, I want to, keep hearing about the beauty of Boca Chica, but I can't find anything online except maybe a 30-second video clip on YouTube. I would pay $5 or $6 or $8 or $10 to be on a virtual tour, to where there's someone sitting on the boat with a GoPro on their helmet, and a tour guide pointing things out. No, it's not the same as actually being there, but boy, would it help me make a decision on what to do and where to go when the border opens up and I can finally get here. And by the way, I've been to Boca Chica and it is absolutely beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah, and I think, I think that's where a lot of the frustration with government is because, people are hurting. People are hurting, and there is a lack of solutions out there. No one is really speaking. And I think, the whole, everyone stays home and all of that stuff, it does work from a health perspective. It really does. I think from an economic perspective, it does hurt people. And I think, not having enough conversations about, what recovery looks like here in Panama, I think is the reason why people feel very frustrated. And I think that's where it's important for us to work to try to offer a solution I'm not saying, we're the solve all for absolutely every business out there, but I do say that, we're going hard with the resources that we have to get money flowing and get money moving. We even started offering pre-sale for actual experiences and kind of telling some of our operators and say, hey, are you willing to give a small discount, between 20 to 50%, depending on the operator? We leave that up to them, to sell your tour, and at least that once the market opens back up, that you have, some money coming in. And we did that in May, and we had like 3 or 4 different operators that said, yeah, I'm willing to take that risk. I'm willing to go ahead and do that. And we saw it sell. So, my encouragement is, anybody listening that does have tourism or people-based businesses, find a way to pre-sale or a coupon or a gift
Well,
card or
if I'm a
something.
tour operator, I would suggest something to my customers like, okay, look, if you spend the $9.95 on the virtual tour, you can get 20% off of an actual tour. When you come in, there's always ways to incentivize this thing. And excuse me, I don't have the coronavirus. I smoke too much. Yeah, I've done that online at the grocery store, and oh my gosh, people just like went away from me. It's like stop. But anyway, the point I think is that going forward in the months ahead, there's obviously going to be a change in the way things are done. And there's obviously going to be a change in the way marketing is done and the way money changes hands and the way, tours are operated. And I wish I could say that I firmly believe that everyone's going to be fine and all the tour companies are going to stay in business and all the bars and restaurants are going to stay open. But there's going to be some fallout from this. And those businesses that make the decision now to adapt for what's coming, I think will come out ahead. Now, in the tourism industry, that obviously, has a whole different set of requirements and needs and problems. So, in your opinion, what do you think that tourism here in Panama is going to be like in 6 months or a year? And I know you don't have a crystal ball. I get it. But you are kind of plugged into this whole thing. So what do you see for us as a destination location down the road?
Well, the biggest thing is we know that internal tourism is going to take off first. And so what we are seeing is what we're telling our operators is you've got to start finding a way to cater to locals. And then on the other hand, we're trying to educate the locals and saying, hey, like invest in tourism here because a lot of people say internal tourism is expensive. Yeah, that's one of the hurdles that I think is going to change as well because transportation is expensive here in Panama. I mean, how is it possible that it's more expensive to go to Boca del Toro than it is to take a flight to Colombia? So these are things that as a whole, when we're talking about tourism sector, including the aviation industry here nationally, is going to have to look and find a way to stimulate people internally to travel. And I think that's the thing that I see going forward is, and we talk with, different people, coming up with, local packages, and
Right.
finding ways for people to get excited about traveling inside Panama. That's going to be the key to it, and finding a way to do that in a very sustainable and affordable way for locals, because again, people aren't coming out of this pandemic with hundreds and hundreds of dollars to just throw in the wind. So, trying to sell a tour for $500, it may not, you may not sell. So that's the thing is, working with the operators, kind of saying, hey, is there a give that you're able to make? And I think, going forward, I would like to hear, the government, offering some sort of incentive to these businesses, be it a tax break, or some sort of incentive for them to offer these discounts to locals. That I think that would be, in my ideal world, it would be where, the government offers some sort of, stimulus to the business to offer the discount to the consumer, and it could be a win-win situation.
Sure, it could
But
be.
yes, going forward, a heavy promotion on local tourism.
And you know what's funny is that from the perspective of an expat, we come here. Some of us have been here for many years. Some of us haven't been here that long. But to us, we don't quite we don't quite understand why would anyone want to travel outside of Panama to see cool stuff. But that's from the perspective of a visitor. And I guess it's the same thing in the States. There are some beautiful places in the States, and people who are foreigners living in the States are like, why would anyone want to leave here to go visit somewhere else? So I guess it's a matter of perspective. But there's so many there's so many beautiful places and unique and cool things to do here that you'd be hard pressed to run out of things to do from one end of the country or the other. But I'm looking at that from the perspective of someone who's a guest here. I wouldn't think of, well, let's move to Panama so I can get on a plane and go to Colombia. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and we find that, we post a lot of pictures, especially on our Instagram and stuff, and it blows our mind at how many Panamanians go, where is that? I've never been there. Oh my goodness. And it's not even things that are far away, from here in the city. It's even something simple like the Baha'i Temple. We have a Baha'i temple here in Panama City. There's only 9 in the world.
Who knew?
It's it's a cool place. It sits on top of a hill. You have beautiful views of the city. It's an egg dome. The egg-shaped building is actually really cool and really peaceful. It's really a cool place to kind of visit and learn about something different. And every time we post anything about that, I mean, it blows our mind. Oh my goodness! Yeah. It's literally a place that you can get to on public transport. The metro stop literally like is right there. So I mean that just shows, there is just this, we do as a nation what it needs to lack just um this this tourism, um bug to explore our own land. It's almost like, I'm only cool if I go to Tulum, and I spend my
Right.
money over there,
Well, yeah, I
or
mean,
I'm going
you're always going to have people like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
no,
if that's your thing, but if you're looking for something to do, this is a great country to do it in. I know that for myself. I don't have the kind of a budget where I can just buy thousands of dollars worth of plane tickets and go hopping. I have family in Italy I have not seen in 2 decades. But there's ways to get around here once the countries open up, to see things here, and waiting until that happens to start letting people know what Panama has to offer its locals.
it's too late.
It's too
It's
late.
absolutely too late.
It's too late. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that when you look at where we are now, I think we have a couple of choices to make, and obviously one of them is going to be to complain about everything, and there's going to be people that complain about everything, and I'm not judging them for that. They have their own issues and their own things that they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. But as far as our economy goes, I think finding solutions and finding ways to move forward during this, this pandemic. We are still in a national state of emergency. I mean, that hasn't changed. There are things that haven't changed, and we know that from what Minsa has told us that the opening of the country is going to be very deliberate, and it's going to be done in stages and steps, and there is no magic number as to when each of these blocks are opening. So while all that's going on, tour operators and small businesses here still have mouths to feed, and the ones that embrace the fact that we are, as much as we are tired of hearing the phrase the new normal, that there is going to be a new normal and they need to adapt, should adapt to that. And you guys are providing a venue for that that isn't going to break their bank, which I think, which I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, and everything, and we're finding that we're helping, not just tour operators. One of the things that we uploaded last week is a lady in real estate. Her and her friend decided they're going to offer a seminar on how to take pictures of properties on your cell phone. And so she reached out to me and she's like, Priscilla, we have this great idea, but we have no idea what to do with it. So quickly, I was like, hey, well, we can raise a platform or help you with your marketing campaigns and do that. So like, all you guys have to do is just, spread the word to your friends or whatever, but we'll take care of the logistics, fulfilling and all of that stuff, conservation. So I mean, I think, that's the thing going forward too, is kind of saying, hey, how can we work together? I think individually, yeah, we can all sit around and do it ourselves, but why do that if someone else has already taken the time?
Well, I mean, considering the fact that Panama is a tourist destination, it has been for many, many, many years, and a majority of the tour operators here, they're one or two person organizations. They don't have the ability to hire a marketing expert or a logistics person. It's just enough for them to spend one half of their day generating sales and the other half of the day operating their tours, and to make it more difficult, the third half, which I know is a misnomer, of keeping their equipment and their facilities in good repair and to be able to be open to the public. So that would be a major frustration, not having the ability to do that. Say, okay, I have a couple of little pangas here. I'm giving these tours, and I have no way of getting the information out. I don't have an advertising budget to spend thousands of dollars a month on placing ads here and there. How can I get this done and still make money to feed my family? And that's, I guess, what you guys provide.
Yeah, that's what we're looking to do. We're a startup ourselves, so we understand what it's like, and we've decided to take on the area of technology, but we relied on our operators to make it all come to life. So this is definitely, like I said in the beginning, it's a collaborative effort. We definitely don't have all of the answers, and we always looking to work with people and sit down and brainstorm and come up with new ideas, and like I said, for us, we pride ourselves in trying to work with the entrepreneur, and especially in this time where they're the ones most hurt by all this. I mean, it's more important than ever to make sure that they stay relevant, that they survive. That's the biggest thing, is kind of waiting around for whatever the work tables that the ATF is doing and all of that stuff, that help may not get to the small business owner in time. And that's where we're trying to come in and bridge that gap, and kind of saying, what can we do to help you right now, so that way you can still be around when this is over.
And I think a lot, excuse me, a lot of the conversation that was generated around that article that came out about the tourism industry revolved around the uncertainty of what they are going to be able to accomplish in the short term and the long term for these small businesses. And that seemed to have been the gist of the conversation. It's like, well, okay, this is great. They say they're going to do all of this, and they might do it. But if it takes 2 or 3 months, we can't survive.
Exactly. And I think, that, like I said, that's the biggest like you hit it. It's the biggest frustration because it's like, I mean, for the big tour operators, like there's several that operate here that are, kind of like corporations. I mean, they can survive. They have a staff of 100, 200 people. They can afford, they have these big buses and all of this stuff, so they'll be okay. They'll be different, and they may have to, downsize, but they won't completely lose their business. But the 1, 2 people operation, those are the ones that are really at risk, and they need a solution right now, and they can't wait.
Yeah. Well, we're all hoping that this goes away, which we know it won't go away. But we're all sitting here, hoping that everyone behaves themselves, and we go through the blocks that the government has set up, and we eventually all get back to being able to travel freely and to shop where we want to without having to wait online and all this. But yeah, there are I think personally the handshake and the hug are probably going to be something that's not going to survive too long, and unfortunately. That's too bad because I'm a hugger and I love shaking hands. But
yeah, me too.
But yeah, then there are things we know that are going to change. For the good, bad, or the indifferent. But one thing that we want to make sure is that our small businesses here in Panama have a fighting chance to stay alive and to contribute to the economy. I mean, most of the businesses here in this country are not giant. Conglomerations. They're small businesses, which is true for just about everywhere in the world. And if we don't take care of our small businesses, then you get into really bad economic problems.
Oh yeah. I mean, and we we owe it to ourselves as a country to take care of the small businesses. I mean, they're really the lives of our community.
Yeah. All right, so we're pretty much getting out of time because I have a couple of things to do before we close. So I want to ask you, how do people contact you? Websites, but I'm going to put all this on my post radio post. How about that? But while we're on the air here, tell us how to get a hold of you and. Your contact information.
Well, you can get a hold of us. Our website is www.pahoy.world, PAHOY.world. We also have our social media, Pahoy _ Panama. You can reach out to me personally. I have a phone number of 66450550, or WhatsApp is my American number, so it's 1-407-607-4177. And you can reach out to me. I mean, again, we're looking to find ways to collaborate. If you have an idea, if you have a business, or if you have something that you feel that you can contribute and try to monetize on that, we definitely want to try to help you. Won't hurt you. And we'll be very honest if we see that it's something that we actually can accomplish. We'll be very upfront. We won't try to take your money and run. But yeah, definitely feel free to reach out. We're always available and really looking to try to help you.
All right. Well, Priscilla, thank you very much for your time and your expertise, and we hope that you guys can come back on the show next time live here with us in our studio in Boquete.
Oh yes, you already know it's on my list. As soon as the borders open between provinces, I am on my way.
All right, very cool. Thank you, and we will talk to you soon. That was Priscilla, by the way, from Pahoy World, and I'm going to put all that information, contact information, on my social media posts. A couple of things before we go. Don't forget, Big Daddy's Grill delivers. You can call Boquete Eats at 6250-1948. Chris and crew have specials all the time for every day of the week. We've got Roger here, and he's actually told me something as we were about to go on the air about a new program that he has got coming up within minutes. And so before I go, and before I close the show out, Roger's going to tell us what. Don't change that dial.
Yeah. But Dr. Shannon.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Oh, Dr. Shannon. Yes. Talking with your
Strange
doctor
Brew.
at 10 o'clock. Yeah.
They're going to be talking about intestinal. I don't know how to say it in English. para, you know,
Gastrointestinal
parasitosis, parasitosis?
parasites.
Parasites,
Yes, parasites. Always a fun topic.
With Dr. Rodolfo Mendez. And don't forget, Strange Brew at 2 p.m. and
Yeah.
Cynthia and Barbara on the air Monday at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, so we got Cynthia and Barbara at 10. We got Dr. Shannon talking to you, Dr. Tomorrow at 10. And we have at 11 o'clock
Today we're starting a new program.
Yeah.
It's called Flavors on Wheels.
Ooh.
And we're getting together with all the restaurants in David and Boquete that, they have their doors open and they're delivering and they're creating new plates and,
and everyone's always asking, hey,
yeah.
where can I get food delivered to my house? So that's going to be great.
Sure.
A lot of good things happening here on Radio Cherokee as Roger expands the choices that we have. So, and don't forget, you can listen to Radio Cherokee on Radio Garden. It's a free app. You just download the app on to your iPhone or onto your Android, and in the little search box, if you type in Radio Cherokee 103.3 FM, boom, it comes on. Tap on the little heart, and now it's in your favorites, and you can listen to it from anywhere in the world.
Congratulations, Al. I was listening to the program in my house, and the show was perfect.
Well, thank you.
The technology and it sounded very good, very good.
And thanks to Bolivar, who's our engineer here, who makes all this happen. And I go in there and I look at all the buttons and dials and switches, and I'm like, okay, that's you. Anyway, you've been listening to Boquete Now, Talk Radio on Radio Cherokee 103.3 FM, sponsored by Big Daddy's Grill, Boulder 54 in the Tap Out Sports Zone. Don't forget BoqueteEats.com to order from Big Daddy's. They'll bring it to your house. Food is great. We eat there all the time. I want to thank you very much for your time and attention, and we will see you next Friday morning. All right. Yeah, I want to make sure I got all that.
She wanted to say something. ¿Todavía estás ahí? No, she's gone.
No, she'll let me. I've known Priscilla.
It sounded very good.
Yeah, that was Zoom. That was.
It even sounded better than Skype.
Yeah.
Bolivar?
And now everyone has Zoom now, right?
Yes.
So let's move this back over here, and let's give that a little spray.
Okay.
Is that good?
Leave me my
phone?
phone and the earphones here out.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Okay, very cool, man.
Okay.
I will,
Next, well, my guests were supposed to be here with lasagna, but well, you missed it. Next week will be Bolivar's restaurant.
Yeah, well, I know. I've eaten there too.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Okay. Bye.
See you later, man. See you, Bolivar.
¿Es aquí mismo? ¿Es en la 103?
En la 103.
¿Empezamos de una vez o esperamos?
No, vamos de una vez.
Ok. Vamos un momentito.
Pero no escucho nada.